Welcome to another in the series, Sip and Chat, a place where we talk about the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. It's our pleasure this afternoon to be coming into your homes and to be talking about the goodness of the Lord. Welcome to another in the series, Sip and Chat, a place where we talk about the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. It's also where we examine the issues of life, the highs, the lows, the mountains, and the valleys, all of which together make us who we are today. But in all of that, as we have been examining since the commencement of March, we need to learn how to celebrate moments and embrace the small things that makes a big difference. We looked at the ant and the lessons that we gleaned and how we can be better persons by understanding the dynamics of how the ant relate to each other. I have a guest with me today, one of my very, very good friends. And we're going to bring out a number of things today, especially how small things that make a big difference because we actually met through a mutual friend by just a simple hello. And those are some of the courtesies that can form very lasting relationships just by being cordial to each other. So, Odette, I want to welcome you to another time on our set. You're one of our premier, I would say, one of our first guests that we had on the show. And since then, so much has happened in your own life. And I'm really, really very excited for you. You have been someone who has truly inspired many, many persons and just to help to plot persons on the right trajectory of their lives. So welcome to the show once more. It's a pleasure to see you. And I know, like we say in Jamaica, a lot is happening for you. Welcome.
Thank you for having me again, Dr. Leleith. It's a pleasure and happy anniversary.
Thank you so very
Here's
much.
a tiny token for you.
Thank you so very much. I truly appreciate it.
It's the anniversary of Safe and Chat.
Yes, it is. We are 1 year and a few months. And, again, it's about embracing the small things that make a big difference. And persons just say something to you that you hold on to. And even if you never see them again, you remember them saying how they envision your life going and moving in a certain direction. So, yeah, thank you so very much. And to all the persons who make Sip and Chat the success it has been.
You're welcome.
Thanks. So, Odette, since the last time we met, that there were some things that happened in your own personal life, professional life, that really could have seen you just bury yourself in your sorrows and say, boy, why me, God? Why this has to happen to me? But one of the things that we want to encourage our viewers today is just how you have been resilient through all of this. And most of this happened in COVID. So I know it has been a rough time, but there are some success stories that have evolved during this period. And you are one of those success stories. So talk to our viewers about what happened and where you are now.
I had an experience that led to a transition in the way I would have earned the income. But God was so good to me that by the time we got there, I was in preparation mode, testing another idea, engaging with customers, getting ready to launch this great thing that I had in mind. And there came a good opportunity for me to transition and to go full time into what I had been working on.
So you're saying to us that in the midst of your drama, in the midst of your ordeal that appeared to have been so catastrophic, that there was also a new dawning, and that is why today we want to celebrate those moments. And you have a new business endeavor, so we want to talk to us about a little bit about that, and just how sometimes it is that you have talent that lies within you. We spoke about unearthing gems. You have potential that is resident in this body of yours. God has given us creative minds and creative thoughts, but because we have never come to that place where we need to utilize those skills, we never tap into them. And so sometimes crisis might look like something horrible, but it is in the midst of crisis that we learn how to survive. And I was telling you about the story about a little boy. It's a very good anecdote about a little boy whose toy was thrown into a lake. And while his toy was thrown into the lake, he went to his dad and he told his dad that, Dad, my toy that I like so much is in the lake. But he couldn't swim. So his father said, go and get it. So he started walking out into the lake. But as he got closer towards his object, his toy, he recognized that he was not at a comfort zone. He was not deeper than he was comfortable standing. And his father said to him, now change your position, swim. And the little boy was like, Dad, I can't swim. And his dad said to him, keep looking at the toy. Keep looking at your goal. And that is a lesson that is so powerful for us today. That when we're at a place of comfort, we don't think about how high we can even go because we are comfortable right in this zone.
Right.
But when trials and when challenges come and we intend to survive, we begin to stretch out our tentacles, stretch out what is it that we have inside our brain and what we can do, and recognize that we can be successful. So talk to us about what has been happening for you.
What I had a particular idea in mind where I transitioned into crafting and I started making things. And person started asking me about them. I was like, okay, this seems like a viable idea. And I was into making people feel good, making people feel appreciated because that was a big part of my job. And I said, okay, all right, God, here's
let me just stop with the audit. So what happened was that some of your natural giftings and that you were basically practicing all over these years now became a craft and a skill that you needed to own as your own as you evolved as an entrepreneur. Correct?
Yes. So I had this particular idea that I wanted to transition into offering gifts and appreciation and just making people feel good, parties, weddings. And the opportunity came. Person started asking about it. And I did it little by little. But when the transition came, I started saying, okay, God, is this it? Is this the only talent that I have inside of me? How would this be sustainable?
And so let me just stop you there because I want our viewers to understand. So what happened was that one light bulb went off and triggered a number of other little light bulbs. And all of this came out of the crisis. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Yes. I always say that it's always amazing how the things that can evolve in times of challenges. Go ahead.
Definitely. So because of the crisis, I said, oh God, I need to have a conversation with you. You said you're my father. And how is it that I'm going to make this little thing become more? Because it didn't seem like it would have been enough for me in terms of what my goals were, where I wanted to go, the reach I wanted to have. And in seeking God, going to church, praying, really getting down on my knees and saying, Lord, I know you've given me this one gift, but I'm not so sure that you're saying that this is it. Eventually, an opportunity, a crisis hit somebody that I knew in the UK, and the person reached out to me. So now I'm in Jamaica, this person's in the UK. The person said, listen, I have a problem. I'm going to be thrown out of my university for academic misconduct. And you are the only one who can help me.
Interesting.
And I said, I cannot. And she said, no, I know you are the only one. I said, okay, God, seriously? And we started going through the documentation. And she said, yes, I was the one that could really help her.
Okay. So what exactly was happening?
So she was into nursing and she had a course and she was accused of academic misconduct.
Right.
A particular charge was laid against her and she needed somebody to defend her. So I have the skill set of having disciplinary hearings, preparing persons for disciplinary hearings and what to do, what to say, what not to say, how to prepare the information so that you can convey what was going on and write a report. So we ended up doing that. And I said, oh, yes, I know that there's something inside of me. All the things that I would have learned over the years in my chosen profession, human resources, I can transition them into another area. But this came out of a crisis. Somebody said to me, help, Odette, you're the only one who can help me. So we ended up doing that case. And then as it evolved, I said, okay, I had a particular name for the business. And I also registered it. And I said, no, this is not it. I need something that can cover the entire thing so I can transition into it.
This is so amazing. So here you were, caught in a crisis, caught in a position where you were now unemployed, so to speak, not recognizing that this was an opportunity for doors to be opened. And as one door opened, it had a ripple effect and a number of doors began to open. So you see, one of the things that we talk about is our whole matter of our perception, or how we perceive life, how we perceive crisis. Not that they won't happen. And there's this quote that says to us, do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future only, but concentrate the mind on the present moment. This is what is happening now. Because the thing is that if we don't get the now right, then we can't begin to think about the future. Because if we cause our dreams and all that we aspire to just die because of one mishap, crisis, whatever it is, then we're not going to get to the next level. So the business is evolving now, right?
It started to evolve, yes. So it started looking more like, okay, yes, this is something I can take. I've always thought internationally. This is something I can take regionally, internationally. This feels right.
And so you're hearing now, like he told Abako, that even though the vision tarries, it shall surely come to pass. Because sometimes we have these dreams, and because again we're in these comfort zones, we don't even try to explore them. One thing I want to look at today, Odette, is this whole matter as we talk about just embracing the small things. It's just about celebrating moments. So when we think about Jamaicans, we don't always find time to celebrate. No, in COVID, a lot of people complain and say, can't get to go anywhere, we can't get to this. But the truth be told, they weren't going. Some people were not going anywhere before. Some people were not going anywhere before. But one of the things that we recognize, and that is what I think is very important, when there is a crisis or something major happen, we must try to secure the lessons learned. And one of the things I've always said that COVID has taught us is how to seize the moment and to appreciate each other. So, for example, on our set today, we deliberately changed up the set today. And I want to celebrate you and your new accomplishments because it's going to get bigger and better. When you started, it was just your small business, just preparing tokens to be sent to persons to say happy birthday, as you said, or anniversary. And they were really, really unique. We're going to be beaming some of them shortly on the web, on the page for persons to see. But talk to us, Odette, about how important it is to recognize milestones and what we call little success, but how important those kinds of recognitions are.
Recognition is critical. They say that people will leave a job because they're not recognized, and that's the number one reason for them leaving. On that basis,
not the money.
No,
I concur with Maslow's hierarchy of
yes,
needs, right?
Not the money, but feeling appreciated, hearing, and even in a relationship, hearing you're valuable. Thank you so much. I appreciate this. You went out of the way. I appreciate you. You're behind the scenes working with us. Thank you. These things are very, very important, and we should never overlook the value of saying thank you. I appreciate you in work, in your relationships. You
And
always
with your
take that
kids
time to
as
do
well,
just that.
with your kids as well.
And with your children also.
Right. We make a big deal when they do well, but if they get, if they don't get as if they don't do as well as we want them to, and sometimes it's just our standards that we have, we don't still reach out and commend them. But we really want people to understand it's so important to celebrate moments. And when we say, just appreciate yourself, pat yourself on the shoulder, like I'm saying to Odette, no, well done, being able to craft out two business. And I mean, these opportunities are endless in this short time. It's major, and we need to commend persons on their milestone because it is these little small milestones that build empires.
Yeah.
It's the small milestones that builds empires. There's no great building, even it's prefab, that just go up like this. It starts with small pieces. Now, what we've done this set today, as I was saying earlier, is that we got some fancy glass, thanks to Miss the person who sets us up very nicely every day, Miss Caroline. But in this glass, I want you to understand it's just water. But we're sitting here and we're celebrating moments. And look at the image that it has presented and the atmosphere that it has created. I'm saying this, that sometimes people feel that they have to have a lot of money, to be able to celebrate a moment. I had a couple, and, part of what I do is also I counsel, right? And I had a couple who said she just felt so neglected. Her husband didn't take her anywhere. And this man was saying, how can you be so ungrateful? I am working so hard to make you and the kids happy. And she said, but I want to be able to spend some time with you. And he's saying, but I'm coming home late because I'm trying to work hard for you. And let me tell you, I spoke to him separately at one point in the discussion, and I spoke to her. And you know what she said to me when I spoke to her separately? She said all she wanted to hear from him when he comes home, even if he was tired, was just spend a few minutes to let her know how appreciative he was of her. And then he said that, he would just like her to say to him that she appreciates how hard he works in trying to make them happy. Guess what I did? I said to the gentleman, sir, the next evening that you're coming home, just stop and buy a small little, whatever ounce, that is the small container, 6 ounce of ice cream or 8 ounce, whatever it is, that small one. And just put in a nice little concealing bag, and you put it in the fridge. Come home and get your nice shower, everything. And I told her in the meantime that day, I gave them a date, she must fix up the house, do her little thing and everything, and be ready for her husband and have a nice little area. So he brought home the ice cream. He came, took out the same with the ice cream. Didn't cost him probably more than probably $800, $1,000 or whatever. And they sat together. They ate the ice cream. She said what she had to say. He said what he had to say. And that was a turning point in their relationship. And I use that example to say that sometimes we think that for us to celebrate each other, for us to show appreciation, whether it be couples, for your kids, that you have to do a big thing. I heard a gentleman say the other day that one of the things that he did with his wife, and we're building families here, we're building relationships, was that he had virtual dating.
Oh, interesting.
Very interesting. So what they did was that they would have their laptop, right? And they would say a place that they would like to go. So they would go on the laptop and they would find this imagery of this place, whatever park it was, and they would just act as if they were at the park, pretend that they were at the park. Yeah, like you and I, they would have had their juice as well. Let us take a sip. Lovely. They would take a sip, and they had a good time. So I think it is so important for us to understand that we need to celebrate us. And just talk a little bit more about that as well.
Celebration, for me, I like to focus on work a lot. So in the workplace, because
But you do
people
a lot of
complain
fun though.
Oh my goodness, I am so balanced.
So
My
balanced.
nickname is Girl Friday. So once I'm finished working hard Monday to Friday, my friends always say, so what new place have you discovered? So
Right.
yes, there's a nice balance that they
Yeah.
join me in
Right.
finding those new places. So we have fun together. But I talk about work in terms of the appreciation at work because it's a place where people complain. They feel unappreciated the most. And I want to say to, if you're listening and you're a leader, it's important to take the time to be conscious, to be emotionally available enough to understand what is it that your team members are going through and to appreciate them. Get a token, say it. Do not just take it for granted that all is well, but affirm your team members. And again, outside of work, affirm your family members because this will make a difference.
That is so important. And I think what persons need to do is to understand that with the same kind of energy, a lot of times that we will say to persons, you did not do this good, your report was late, or whether it's at church, you didn't prepare the area well today, whatever it is. In the same way that we're able to identify the weaknesses and the flaws, when the person does good, even though sometimes person says, I didn't have to say it, it was expected.
Right.
That's not correct. That's because sometimes the things that people do to make us happy, they do it under a lot of pressure. So, for example, like a mom, you come home and you see the meal well prepared, looking nice, just like you like it. For some men, 3 plates, 4 plates. You know what I'm saying? But you come home and you see everything well structured. You can't just eat. Somebody did this, you know what I'm saying? And even though she might probably see it as her responsibility, or she probably finds joy in doing it. The point is that we always need to use those simple little words and say thank you and celebrate the moment with her as well. To say, I'm so happy that you're my wife. I'm so happy that you're part of our family. You make us look clean when we go on the road. And a lot of times we underestimate the role of housewife as well, because A lot of persons feel that because you're working in the home, you're not working as hard as somebody who goes outside. And that is absolutely not true. I know a lot of the persons are saying thumbs up for that, because I always say to persons that housework is a lot of work. There's nothing that grows as fast as cobweb, and they know how to show up just when the visitor arrives. So we need to understand that every role is important, and we need to appreciate each other and celebrate those moments. Why do you think people don't like to celebrate themselves?
I think because our history, our culture doesn't promote that. And let me use an example. As you were speaking a while ago, I remembered a turning point in my own life where I had a supervisor. The one before, she was excellent. She would praise you. I mean, if you're doing something extra, she would come and say, "Hey, well done. You're doing this. I recognize this." And then we had a switch. And the other team leader came, and boy, I found her to be extremely negative. I mean, she just broke my spirit so much. And I learned that it was so important that when you're evaluating somebody, when you're giving feedback, that you ensure that we call it the sandwich method. You ensure that you balance it with praise, because no one person is all negative. No matter what they're doing, they must do something right. So you have to find that balance between praise and giving correction and expecting the results. So persons, as your question said, persons do not appreciate each other enough because it's not a part of our culture. But we should change that, and I think the change starts here.
Yes, and you know what? I just want to say for our viewers, I remember the first time I was exposed to the sandwich effect of just appreciating and providing feedback. People call it the PNP. This has nothing to do with the People's National Party, but it was about praise. And what it says is that you present the person the positives, right? I want to thank you so very much for always being consistent, coming to work on time, and so on. And you present the positive, and then you say, there's an opportunity, however, for improvement, where in terms of your reporting. So that's the insert, yes, right? And then you can either go and reemphasize the first positive, or introduce a new positive that you're mindful of as well. But we need to, and that is not just a workplace practice. It's also just a life practice where whenever we have feedback for persons, we try to give them that balance between positive opportunities for improvement, and then you present the other positive. And then that's how people feel empowered, and they feel that they're able to grow as well. And like you say, you know what? It's the small things that makes a big difference. Those little, even in our society today, we don't have to get expensive, because we have our phones, little emojis we can send throughout the course of the day. I like to send emojis to my friends and my son, little songs and stuff, to encourage, to say thank you, just to let them feel appreciated. Your spouse, my spouse, so people know that, listen, you're not alone in this, and I am with you. I'm your cheerleader. And people don't want to have a battle at work and come have a battle at home. No, so we have to understand how to embrace each other and how to be the cushion for other people. You said something that's also very important as well, about the things that culturally we don't do, right? And when we recognize that there are trends in our culture that doesn't support that which is healthy in a sense, we need to figure out how best we can break those cultures and redefine the spaces that we want to create for a better Jamaica. That's what we want, a better Jamaica. So we have to learn how to celebrate moments. Everything is important. A person, a subject, a health, just being able to be alive, as you said, is so important. And that's what we want to really say to all of us. I have this poem I want to share with us today. It says, celebrate a new life each and every day. Put the past behind you, clear your mind, and make way. There are lessons to learn, memories to hold, the future once beckoning so bold. To stand in one place, not dwelling with fear, life goes stale, nothing to cheer. So start each day open heart, open mind, make life challenging and not just a frown or a grind. So we need to learn to celebrate. never give up on something that you can't say today, because today it didn't happen. Always be persistent. And that's something that we have always, promoted right throughout the show. Just being able to promote each day, promote each joy that we have. We don't have to wait on a big moment. Every day is a moment to celebrate. It's so very, very important. So how do you see? Tell me about how you see 5 years from now, all things being equal, as we continue to trust in the Lord.
As I continue to go down on my knees and see God's will,
And that's what we have
no
to do.
joke. I think it's quite important. Say, Lord, Father, what is it that you have for me next? So with that in mind, I see myself in the next 5 years. I've always wanted to travel. I've tested the waters in terms of doing training, like you, very
Right.
similar. So I've done training in Toronto. I have not done anything in the UK as yet, or Europe. So I want to touch that market. But I look forward to sharing what I have with different audiences around the world, and also helping others who may be caught into maybe a professional misconduct, helping them to get out, helping the persons who are at work and struggling, the business owners who may have an issue with discipline. I see myself, us at least, the business, doing that and having that kind of success.
Thank you so very much, Odette. As we said, celebrating the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. I want to say to us today that today is the oldest that you'll ever be, but also the youngest you'll ever be again. So today is the oldest you'll ever be, and the youngest that you'll ever be again. So we need to seize the moment and embrace the now. The future is bright, but if we don't embrace the now, we don't know how we'll position ourselves for the future. Once again, on behalf of our team here at Sip and Chat, we want you to know we must embrace the small things, the little small things that makes a whole lot of difference. Thanks for joining on Sip and Chat.